Sienna always gets up for Sunday school in the morning, and she takes the lid off and she like pulls the phone off and she's like, please stop. Yeah.
Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. Oh God, you are my God, and I will ever praise you. I will seek you in the morning, and I will learn to walk in your ways. And step by step you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. And I will follow you all of my days. And I will follow you all of my days. And step by step you'll lead me, and I will follow you all of my days. Good evening.
Brother.
Good evening. Thank you. Good. Yeah, it's good to see everybody tonight. Glad everybody's joining us now, and especially those that are joining us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, whatever manner of social media you're watching us on. Thank you for watching us tonight. We appreciate you doing that. Let us know where you're watching from, and share this with other people, and they can join in with a Bible study with us tonight as well. Come on in, guys. How you doing? Good to see y'all. Tonight's a happy night, isn't it, Matthew? See, I say, look, you just got to understand, people that are watching right now. All right, so for the last few weeks, I've been bringing some food and stuff in. Like this week, we brought pizza in, and that was Heidi's suggestion. Heidi said, I want pizza, and I got cheese and pepperoni over there, Heidi, for you. That's wild. But this morning, I got up and I opened up my email, and there it was, shining, and just like it's like coming from the pages of the Bible, but it wasn't. It was my email. It was like this glow, and it was saying from Sonic, and Sonic was like 99-cent corn dog day, and I'm like, yes, we're having corn dogs tonight at the garage. So if you're not here tonight, you don't get a corn dog. But there's some people in this room that's not too fond of corn dogs. And then there's some people that are really fond of corn dogs. But what do corn dogs make you do? They make you smile. I mean, you just say the word corn dog and you smile. By the way, isn't that what Caden Daniel goes by, corn dog? Yeah. So yeah, we need to huh? It don't make no difference. So it sounds the same. It sounds the same. It doesn't make any difference. But yeah, so yeah, we're having corn dogs tonight for a treat tonight. And if you'll come by sometime, maybe I'll buy a corn dog for you. I do have an assisted living place waiting on me to bring corn dogs to them. And I'm serious, because I teach a Bible class on Wednesdays at one of them, and I keep kidding with them about bringing a corn dog out there. And they're like, when are you going to bring us our corn dogs? Well, you got really good food in here, but we want a corn dog. I think they want to go back to their childhood. And so, but yeah. So tonight we are in the second of our lessons on
distractions.
What?
Distractions.
Okay. Yeah. We are studying about. We have Donald Davis who's chimed in from New Johnsonville, Tennessee. Hey, Donald, glad you're watching this tonight. Yeah, we're talking about distractions, and specifically, we're talking about spiritual distractions. We got into some discussion last week about some of the things that do distract you, and one of those things we were talking about, that we're going to talk a little bit more about, is the whole concept of social media being a distraction for you. And if you notice tonight, we only have like one bird that's chirping, and then it stopped. Maybe. Yeah, we have this one bird that's chirping. That may be because I ran one out of here earlier today. There was a bird in here, and it was pretty distracting to me. But we talk about these things about distractions that happen in your life. You talked about school, you talk about work, you talk about these things in your life that are distractions to you. We kind of touched a little bit. We did not get into it, but that's because that's going to be next week when we're going to talking about the whole concept of social media distractions. Because I want us to sit down and have a really good, thorough conversation about it. Because first of all, I want to say it's not wrong to have social media. It's what you do in social media and how you do things in social media that can become something that is the distraction to you. But that's for another thing, another time. Let me start off by asking, what's been your biggest distraction this past week? Anybody had something that this past week that just threw you off and you were like, okay, this is, anybody have a distraction that occurred to you?
Fine.
Oh, so you had, did they start last week or just are they?
I had one on Friday and then I have two more tomorrow.
Okay, so you had one on Friday. So what was the distraction? Studying for it or getting prepared for it or?
You said something that throws you off.
Okay, well, you're no longer going to class
That's
for that, and so routine changes, and when routine changes, it can throw things off. What were you gonna say, Staley? Were you gonna say something?
Last week prom.
Oh, yeah, and when those things happen, you get focused on. Well, guys focus on. Well, I'm gonna put a suit on, and we're gonna look really nice, and the girls have to focus on. I gotta get my nails done. I gotta get my toenails done. I gotta get my hair did, and I gotta, the dress and that dress. That dress has got to be just right, Travis. I mean, oh yeah, I mean, it's got to fit. And the boys have got to be concerned about putting on the same color tie of the dress that the girl has. And, yeah, see, y'all really just didn't even care about school last week. Or maybe one of you. Did you care about school last week? No. Did you care about school last week? No. So wait a minute. So you're telling me that school is the distraction in your life? Okay. All right.
Say that last week.
Huh?
So you told us we weren't allowed to say
You
that.
wanted to say that, but it's true. I mean, yeah, okay. But yeah, so you have these things that have some distractions. You kind of had a different thing in Washington over the weekend. When did y'all leave for Washington? Thursday, and you got back today. Was there anything in Washington that you realized? Y'all went to all the monuments and memorials and the Jug Duty museums while you were there. So was there anything in Washington that took your attention away from something that you were there?
The crowd.
Oh,
All of the crowd.
was it loud? Yeah, kind of couldn't hear yourself think maybe, and you want to focus in. I'm a person that when I go to a museum or if I do something that I really kind of want it quiet. It's my bird. And so, yeah, I really kind of want it quiet there so I can focus in and I can read. If there's a noise going on and I'm trying to read, you can forget it because I am the world's worst with outside noises, especially if if it's something that kind of catches your attention. You ever been in line like at the grocery store? You've been someplace and you're fixing to buy your Cheetos and whatever else, and you're in line and you hear somebody say something that interests you, and you're like, well, I'm supposed to be checking out. And you're like, I want to hear what they're saying. And so you kind of pause and you're not eavesdropping, you're listening real good. And so you listen and you want to hear what's going on. Why? Because those distractions that happen, right? There are distractions that occur all the time. Oh my. Well, hi, Dolly. Dolly, what's going on, Dolly? How are you? Folks, my dogs just come in here. Oh, and there's Max too.
Dolly's gonna.
Dolly, well, hi, Max. Dolly's come in. So what's happened is we have a oh look, so I'm fixing to send them back in with you just to all right. So folks, we'll let you know I planned this. You thought they were just coming in here, but they want to get the treats. Y'all want a treat? Hey guys, yes, ma'am, you want a treat? I know you do. Max, hey Dolly, yeah, Dolly, Max, come here, sit. Good boy, good boy. I dropped it here. There you go. Dolly, you want one too? Come here. Hey, here, Dolly, here, sit. Dolly, I've got the treat here. I'm trying to distract him. Hey, Dolly smells the corn dogs. I guarantee you that. Dolly, She's focused on something. What's she focusing?
Pizza. It's real.
Maybe a bird. I don't know. Okay. All right. Here today. Take them back in the house. All right. Hey guys, back in the house. Go. Go out. Good job. All right.
Very nice coincidence.
Very nice coincidence that your dog runs in right in the middle of your lesson. So I did plan one. Yeah. So a brief story about that. Max is over here getting loving.
He's still here?
Yes.
I thought he left.
So the first preaching job I ever had was held in Summertown, Tennessee, not too far from here. And it was a summer preaching job. And it was an old schoolhouse that didn't have the air conditioning, had the fans, and they raised the windows up on the inside. And I'm in there. This is my first lesson I've ever preached for them. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm probably sweating buckets. And I'm up there preaching. And about that time, I heard this, whoa, whoa. And about that time, this dog jumped through the window. And when he jumped through the window, he's sitting there and he's barking like Dolly did just a second ago. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, okay, I don't know whose dog this is. Is he coming in to chew me up or what? But about that time, this one man, this member there gets up and goes, Blue, get out of here. The dog jumped back out the window and howdy when and the guy goes, go on, preacher. And so we deal with distractions. And yes, I told Danae, bring the dogs out here. Actually, Matthew and I had kind of talked about this, making this a distraction to show you what happens. It's really easy to lose focus, especially when you need to be zoned in on something. And I get it. You're taking that test in school and something else pops in your mind. Or maybe if you're like me, you come out here to the garage and you see something needs to be done, and I start working on that project. And while I'm working on this project here, something pops up and you realize, oh, I need to do that too. And then I leave this project to go to this project. Guess what happens to this project? It never gets finished. It never gets finished. I want you to think about this with me for a moment. I want you to think about when you lose sight of things that you're focused on, especially spiritually in your life. When you lose the sight in that, you have the distraction that can actually literally pull you away from God. People say that you could go to sleep a whole lot quicker if you didn't have the distractions. Sometimes that's why some people say, I got to have nothing but quiet to do this. In 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 35, you want to turn your Bibles open to that? We'll look at that. 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 35. Listen to what Paul's writing to people in Corinth there. He says, this I say for your own profit, not that I might put a leash on you for what's proper, and that you may serve the Lord without a distraction. You know, we need to do the very best we can to be serving God in any way that we can, whether it be in sports, whether it be in our jobs, whether it be in school, all around us. But the outside distractions can knowingly pull you away from God or unknowingly pull you away from God. Let me give you an example of this. You have schoolwork. It's a Wednesday night. You're used to going to church on Wednesday night for Bible study. That's been your habit. It's been the way you've lived your life. But you come up and you've got that final exam that's coming up on a Thursday, and you go, man, I've really got to cram for this. And you know, I can't. I really need this hour. Okay, no big deal. You need that hour. So you take that hour, and you're fine. And you're fine. You go, you pass your test. That's great. Next Wednesday night, you go back to church. The next Wednesday night later, and something else comes up, and you know, and you're like, well, normally I go to church on Wednesday, but you know, I don't have to be there tonight. I can come do this. And you miss that Wednesday night. And you're okay. But what generally happens is that you're okay in the fact that you miss a Wednesday night or two, and then it becomes 3 or 4 or more. And it's not because of a job. It's because your priority, or maybe your focus has changed without you even knowing it. Think about that with me. It's changed without you even knowing it. Because it just gradually pulled you away. Now, doesn't mean you're far away from God. I will not say that. But what I will say is it puts you in a zone of where's your focus? Is it better to be with your with a group of friends hanging out at Sonic just talking than having the opportunity to be in the Word of God? Or is it better to have your friends in the Word of God with you, and then you go out to Sonic? In 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. Someone be looking that up for me. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 13. Somebody read that for me.
No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. But with the temptation, he will also provide the way of escape that you may be able to endure it.
Okay, so there you go. If there are distractions that are going to pull you away from God, and that's the focus I want you to understand, being pulled away from God, you also got to remember that God has also made a place for you to get out of that and a way for you to get out of that. Meaning that may be the whole concept of you sit there and you say, well, I really want to come and do this tonight with you, but I've got a Bible study I really want to be at. I want you to come with me and let's study God's word together. Because I really am focused in on this. I firmly believe too that when people see you focused in on Jesus, when people see you focused in on God, there's another level of respect that is seen. I think people treat you differently. And I'm not talking about treating you differently in a bad way. Now, granted, there's some people that will. There's some people that think you're too good for yourself. You're nothing but a Jesus baby. You're nothing but, there's people but you know what? Realistically, that's that many people. I think on the whole, when someone realizes you're trying to live a Christian life, they're all for you. And if they see that your focus is on that, guess what? They may just turn their life around as well. Last night in class, we discussed Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, to present your body a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God. And the second verse of that is what I want to talk about for just very brief, because you've heard this. Be not conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans chapter 12, verse 2. That by testing you, you may discern the will of God. And you'll know what is good and acceptable and perfect to him. God lays it out before you, and he puts it in front of you. Well, how do I keep the distraction? Is focus on the love. Focus on the love. The love is this. What is the greatest command? Anybody will say it?
Love the Lord your God.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. Love your Lord your God. Second commandment is like unto it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Remember that base of love. Remember that base of love. That is the greatest commandment. That is the foundation. And knowing on that, you've got to stay focused on that. And 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Someone read that for me when you get there to it. 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. First John chapter 2 and verse 15. And go.
Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him.
Woo. Read that first part again.
Do not love the world or the things in the world.
Do not love the world or the things in the world. All right, somebody explain to me. What's he mean? Do not love the world or the things in the world. Don't put them before God. Well, what are these things we're talking about? Like material things. Okay. So, things that will separate you from God, things that are sinful. But there are people that love it. Well, I mean, if you face the facts, the truth is this: sinful things are fun, according to the world. That's what you got to remember. Sinful things are fun, according to the world. Does God want you to have fun? Yeah. Can you be a fun person without doing sinful things? Yeah. Does God provide ways for that to happen? Yeah. I'm about out of yes. but I mean, that's when you start looking at that. Look at what he says. Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 10, verse 2. He says, chapter 12, verse 2, he says this: we fix our attention on Jesus, who is the pioneer and the perfecter of a faith, who, in view of the joy set before him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and is set down at the right hand on the throne of God. That's where I put my focus on. I've done this thing with you kids before, and where you hold your finger out in front of you between the person and you and the person in front of you. And it's really interesting, weird how it works, how your eyes work. If you hold your finger down in front of you, you look at your fingernail and you look very strongly at your fingernail, everything in the background blurs. Why? Where's all the focus? On the fingernail. But if you focus on the things past the fingernail, what happens to the finger? It goes blurry. That's all about focus. And all about, where do you really want to put your life? Where do you want to put your life? So question is, do you want to put your faith in the world, or do you want to put your faith in Jesus? Simple question. If God tells you to do something, what should you do? Okay. You should do it. But what if you have a different opinion than God? Okay. Change your opinion. Because in the end, yeah.
And it was, well, it was, I guess last night in the C20s class, we were reading about when Moses got the kingdom, because our series right now is on the mountain and other spiritual symbolism or whatever.
Yeah.
But in that scene, essentially, God at one point, when God tells Moses, hey, Israelites are down there, they made an idol. And he basically says, hey, Moses, let's just start over. I'll just destroy everyone, and we start over with you. And Moses is like, whoa, let's not do that.
Right.
And he kind of talked God down.
Right.
To not destroy everybody.
Right.
So.
By the way, what did he do? What was the Israelites doing? They were breaking the very first commandment that he had. No other gods before me. And they knew it. They already knew that before Moses comes down with the law. Now, that's one thing you got to understand. They already knew what most of the law was about. But yeah, they lost their focus. Let's build a big old golden calf over here. So let that heifer be seen. And so but then you get this. But then you get this where it says, fixing our attention on Jesus, who is the perfecter of our faith. Colossians 3 verses 1 and 2 says this: if you are risen with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ sits on the right hand of God. it's maintaining the focus on Jesus. It's maintaining the focus on God. And if God tells you something through his inspired word, which that's what it is, then we should be obedient to it. I mean, go back to your thing on the 10 Commandments. He spoke into law these 10 commandments. However, there were many other laws that were given. Go to the book of Leviticus and you can find those 700 and something laws in there. And you had to obey that. And he gives a very simple law for us in the New Testament. A very simple law. Love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Be obedient to me, to God, till you die. It's really that kind of simple. He doesn't give us these, again, 700 something laws. You've got to learn how to wash your hands a certain way in order to get past on a feast day. You got to have a certain animal to sacrifice without blemish on animal sacrifice day. You got to have, and believe you me, guys, I'm glad we're not there. I'm really glad, because we wouldn't be here tonight. We wouldn't be doing what we're doing tonight because of what the old law. Now, the old law led us to what we have in this new law. But we need to look at the things that are there. We need to look to Jesus for the salvation that is given. And we don't need to let the world distract us. And here's the problem. And be real quick with this because we're about ready to tell our audience goodbye. There are dangers in taking your eyes off of Christ. Permitted drivers right now. Who's my permitted drivers? Raise your hand. All right, 1, 2. You're a licensed driver.
Permit. I
A
thought you said
permit.
permitted.
No.
I
You
was
are
like-
licensed. I'm looking at permits. All right, a couple of you guys in here got your permits right now. So, when you're riding with your parent, the worst one that you ride with, when it comes to learning how to, I was going to see if she looked over at you. Whenever that happens, is this about the number one thing you hear? Don't take your eyes off the road. Don't take your eyes off the road. Y'all remember, y'all guys that are licensed, y'all remember that? Your parent going, now, huh?
I remember.
Brake. Well, that's a good thing. Yeah. Brakes are really good. Do what? You know what? A stop sign can stop you, but also a tree can too. Stopped you, didn't it? Okay. All right. At least it wasn't as bad as Mr. Chuck's. Oh, okay. We're gonna move on from there. You don't take your eyes off the road. You don't take your focus off of what you're doing. I'm not sure how it's announced, but you guys may have heard it. It's is it like the 8 seconds of life or 5 seconds of life, or 5 degrees of life, wherever you're literally just a minute away of when you could have been in some serious trouble. In my years of driving down an interstate, or maybe Travis, you've experienced this. You're driving down an interstate and you had something that detained you for a few minutes, and then you came upon a wreck and you thought, you run through your mind, oh wow, if I had left at that time, that would have been me. And you kids in the car riding around with parents and stuff may have been the same thing. You know, distracted driving is horrible. They talk about it all the time. These things here, they are. Even myself, I totally claim I have a big problem with this. When someone else is riding with me, I hand it to them. If my phone rings, check my phone. If I get a text, check the text. That's where I've got to now, because and thankfully that Miss Pam sat there and said, isn't my life more valuable than your phone? Touche. Touche. And because of that, isn't Jesus more valuable in your life and gaining your soul than losing your soul? We go to Matthew chapter 14 as we wrap up with our people viewing tonight, streaming tonight. Matthew chapter 14, Peter, verses 28 through 31. This is Peter getting out of the boat. All right. This is what we say. We say, Peter answered him. He said, Lord, if it's you, order me to come to you on the water. And Jesus said, come. So Peter gets out of the boat. He starts walking on the water, and he came to Jesus. But when he noticed the strong wind, he was frightened. Another word might be distracted. And he began to sink. And he started shouting, Lord, save me. And at once, Jesus reached out his hand. He caught him. And he pulled him up and he says, you who have so little faith, why did you doubt? Why did you doubt? Well, I think that's what a lot of us do. A lot of us are willing to get out of the boat. But when we get out of the boat, we lose the focus. And it was, I've heard people say, if he just kept his eye on Jesus, he would have been all right. And I believe that. I also believe that if he had kept his mind focused on what his purpose was at that time, he would have walked to Jesus and back on the water. I think it would have happened. But he didn't. He let the distractions of the world around him, the wind, the waves, and everything around him, distract him that he sank. And the sinking was pretty bad. But here's one thing that you got to understand. Peter did realize he was sinking. He realized he lost focus. And what did he do? What? He called out to Jesus. He said, Lord, help me. Actually, he said, save me. If you lose focus in your life, don't fear. Well, I want you to have fear. But I want you to have the fear that causes you to cry out to Jesus for Jesus to save you. That's what you want. And when you realize that, Jesus is going to say, I've got you. He's going to pull you up. He's going to take care of you. Why? Because that's what Jesus does. That's what he does. That's the promise he made to you. It's a promise he makes to you today. When he went back to heaven, be with God, what was the thing he said to the apostles and the disciples who were there? He said, lo, I'll be with you always, even until the end of the age. I'm going to be with you. He's here with us tonight. His presence is here in this very room. So it's his love, his grace, and his mercy. All he's asking you to do is don't be distracted. And when you are, yell. And he's going to say, I got you. And he will. And he will. We're going to tell our audience goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. Stephen Oxby's watching from the UK tonight. Thank you, Stephen. I've been chatting with you lately, and I hope to chat some more with you pretty soon. And so we're going to sing a song out of here tonight, and then we'll catch you tomorrow, 5 o'clock, for 60 Seconds of Love. So we'll have that come out tomorrow. So let's sing a song out of here. A common love for each other, a common